when I told you that truth cometh in the morning, you'll understand what I mean a little bit more. Vlad TV posts information that proves that Reggie Wright Jr. lied on his platform in regards to Tupac having something to do with the murder of Randy Stretch Walker. This one is serious, y'all. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button notification. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tell a friend. But like I always say, the most important thing you can do is to hit that bell notification right below this video if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game. I'm going to get right into this. Ladies and gentlemen, when I told you guys that truth cometh in the morning, not only in relation to what I know to be true and factual, but what other people have found out. I don't know if you remember Reggie Wright Jr. doing a video over on Vlad TV. In this specific video right here, Reggie Wright Jr. makes an accusation as to the murder of Randy Stretch Walker. Right? As in relation to a friend of Tupac's coming back from New York shortly after Randy Stretch Walker was killed, Reggie Wright made an accusation as to, or alluding to, that the guy that came back from New York and hugged Tupac shortly after Stretch was murdered was somehow involved with the murder of Randy Stretch Walker, or at least the shooter, right? And somehow Tupac basically had this individual go and shoot Randy Stretch Walker based on the quad studio shooting, right? And the only proof, other than not saying anything and acting like he knew more about it than he actually knew about it, the only proof that Reggie Wright Jr. had offered up in regards to that, right, was the fact that how Tupac hugged the guy. And he said that Tupac looked like he was happy and he was relieved, happy to see the guy. Like, you know, I'm happy to see you. Yeah, you got away with it. And so basically insinuating that from what he saw, right? But then shortly after that, he said, you know, that's all I'm going to say, is if he knew more, but he's just not going to say anything else. And what topped it off was the fact that to close off his lie, he basically said, you know, well, the guy who actually would have did that, you know, he's dead now, right? The guy that Tupac hugged, he's dead. You know, Tupac's dead. And so nobody could really, you know, tell you that Reggie Wright Jr. was lying. But I'm here to tell you today that he's lying. And not only is he lying, but the person's actual channel that he lied on, Vlad TV, was the individual who actually posted the paperwork in regards to the Randy Stretch Walker situation. So Vlad now knows that Reggie Wright Jr. is a liar. I just exposed him in regards to the situation where he lied about owning Daz's Publishing. He lied about owning a Big Simon Says company. He created another company identical to Suge's publishing company through ASCAP. To commit a nefarious act of fraud, basically presenting this fake paperwork, or bogus paperwork, should I say, in regards to his ownership. And I prove to you guys that he was lying. But this one right here takes the cake. And the funny part is, when I say truth cometh in the morning, right, it was this morning that this information was provided by Vlad, right? And basically, I'm going to read just a little bit part of what that is so that you understand that the guy that allegedly killed Randy Stretch Walker is still alive and not dead, like Reggie Wright alluded to. egregiously, you know what I mean? Just so blatantly wrong, you know, and once again, saying anything. He will say anything to get you to listen to what he's saying, trying to say incendiary things in regards to things that he knows nothing about. He was not close to Tupac like that. I done told you guys that 10 times. This proves it. So listen to this. And I'm just going to read, get into a little bit of it. Basically, it says, one of the men authorities believe is responsible for the 2002 murder of Run DMC legend Jam Master Jay is reportedly the same person accused of killing Tupac affiliate Randy Stretch Walker. Reggie Wright Jr. is a liar. According to the court documents obtained by who? The same guy that Reggie Wright Jr. went on his channel and lied, obtained by Vlad TV. Ronald Washington, who's currently behind bars awaiting trial, was the main suspect in Stretch Walker's 1995 murder. Prosecutors claim there are 3 witnesses who could testify Washington was the trigger man during a car chase in which Randy Stretch Walker's brother, Krista Majesty Walker, was the intended target. They also said another person who was in the car with Washington when the shooting occurred would have evoked his Fifth Amendment rights if called to the stand. Right? This is breaking news. I also pointed out to you guys because people had been basically insinuating that Tupac had something to do with that based on Stretch being with him that night that he was shot at Quad Studios, right? And I told you guys about the statement that Tupac had made in regards to that, basically saying that, he didn't have anything to do with it, you know what I mean? And people wanted to believe what they wanted to believe. But what I'm trying to bring to you today is the fact that with this new information being provided by the U.S. Attorney in New York, as well as Vlad TV, basically with this information, basically it proves that Reggie Wright Jr. is a habitual liar, and he will say anything. None of what he said in regards to Tupac, in regards to him hugging his friend, and all of those things were true. They were basically just made up. It was pure fiction in order to be able to say something to make you think that Reggie knew something that he actually knew nothing about. And the sad part about it is people on the internet are actually going in. These are some of the statements that I've seen on the internet in regards to the people that have seen that Vlad interview and that are now aware of this new information. So do you understand what I'm saying now? Like I said, he's called me a bunch of names, right? But one thing he can't call me is a liar. And so when you understand what I've been telling you guys, like I said, Straight Game TV, right? And I appreciate Vlad for putting this information up. And hopefully Vlad will now know who Reggie Wright Jr. truly is. And that he will say anything. There's a lot of things that he said on Vlad's channel that was simply not true. Simply not true. He even, like I said, he even lied on Tupac's godmother, a Yasmin Fula, saying that Tupac fired her. It was totally 100% false. And I presented you with that information also. And guess what Reggie Wright did? He erased the video. You can't even find the video in where he said that Tupac had fired her. You see what I'm saying? So this guy, once again, over there at Bomb First, wherever he goes, he will tell the same story and act as if he knows something that he doesn't know. It's sad, man. But this information right here, like I said, once again, just released yesterday, and you see it. The guy is not dead, who allegedly had something to do with the killing of Randy Stretch Walker. He's currently in jail right now. But see, the slick thing that Reggie did was he had to, you got to look, there's a method to his madness. I told you guys. So once he made the statement in regards to the Tupac thing, right? And the crazy part is basically, he was basically insinuating that Tupac basically sent somebody to kill Randy Stretch Walker, y'all. But then one minute he wants to be, this Pac and, he Suge and he's the savior and he knows all. But then on the other hand, he'll say something so blatantly and patently false and defamatory, right? That it doesn't even make any sense. This guy basically insinuated that Tupac had something to do with killing Randy Stretch Walker. And so you got to understand what you're witnessing before you right now. It's a lot of this going on, and they call it, like this young man called it, it's a lot of capping going on. But like I said, I met Randy Stretch Walker one time, and that was in 1993 at Bowie State University, and he was with Pac, right? And they seemed like they were cool. You know what I mean? Everything seemed like, it was cool. And so, Tupac had said this, basically about him and Stretch, not being cool anymore. It was like, he said this, he said, as to what led to their breakup, Tupac accused Stretch of not riding for him when he was shot while going to meet Jimmy Hinchman. As he explained to the source in 1996, he basically said, Stretch was my closest dog, my closest homie. I did a lot of drama. I got into a lot of cases and shit because of Stretch. Money-wise, he could have had anything. His daughter was my daughter. Whatever she wanted, she could have. Despite whatever went on, it never seemed to me, through what I had heard over the years, that Tupac would want to have Stretch killed. Like I said, to take him away from his daughter because they had a misunderstanding or whatever, right? And we heard what Tupac said about him in Machiavelli. You know what I mean? He basically said, switch sides, guess his new friends wanted him dead. But this new information right here is powerful. And it shows you that Reggie Wright Jr., you cannot believe anything that he says, period, about anybody else's business. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.